Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Doug's on 503, talking all things Oregon football, coming at you in the classic format. Yes, sir. I know some of you guys recognize this. If you're day one OG Doug Zone 503 subscribers, if you're not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. By the way, hit the like button, hit the share button. I'll always appreciate that. But yeah, coming at the classic format. That's what happens when you have technical difficulties, when you usually do the show on your phone and edit on your phone so you can always be on the go and do your thing. Nope. Technical difficulties makes us switch back to the laptop microphone format, which is all good. The show must go on, right? So here we go, guys. We are coming at you. This video is going to be the UCLA at Oregon preview and prediction. We got number 9 UCLA rolling into town, Autzen Stadium. We got a 12:30 kickoff, primetime kickoff over here on the West Coast, because when you kick off at 12:30 over here, it's nice and beautiful afternoon, 3:30 on the East Coast. So you got the whole country all eyes on this game. Oregon enters this game as a 6-point favorite. Game day is going to be there. Josh Pate from the Late Kick podcast is going to be there. First top 10 ranked matchup in Autzen Stadium since 2014, when Oregon played Michigan State at home and won that game as well. So big game on our hands. Man, we're gonna preview it. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna give a score prediction. So stick around, man. Oh man, it's been great. It's been a great bye week as well. Me and my girlfriend, we went to the pumpkin patch. It's always great to step away on the bye week and kind of, get to do your thing, get to, connect with family, friends, really get to spend time, especially me, myself. If I'm talking for myself here, I'm a busy guy during the football season, as you guys probably would expect. And I don't get a lot of time. Okay. I also work a full-time job. This is not my number one job, as you know. And man, it's hard to find time for me. So it was good to, slow down, sit back, not have that stress of, having to do a video, not have that stress of having to pay attention to a game, really analyze it. Just kind of sit back as a fan and watch football, and see these other teams, these big games happen. As you know, we had Utah beat USC at home, right? So the Pac-12 marquee matchups are happening this weekend. We had one last week with Utah beating USC. Okay. USC goes down. A lot of people thought USC were college football playoff contenders. Couldn't be me. Okay. If you watch this show, as you know, I make my Pac-12, I take every team from the Pac-12 game by game, take their season, and I go ahead and predict every win-loss for them and give you my take on their season. And I didn't see USC being a college football playoff team. Now, I did see them improving most definitely with the roster they have and being a very good team. But I did have Utah beating USC, okay, this last weekend. And what do you know? That's what happens, okay? When you got Utah in wounded animal mode, which I expected them to lose. I predicted them to lose to UCLA as well. Not trying to toot my own horn here, but when you're making these key predictions, I need you guys to pay attention on these prediction videos. This is why, because I try to give you guys the scoop, okay? I know I'm 23 years old. I might not, be as educated on the football premises as many other people. But when I've watched this conference since I was 8 years old, with a magnifying lens every year. This is why I started this podcast. Is I feel like I've always given some good insight and some good predictions. You had UCLA beat Utah the previous week before Utah beat USC. So you're getting these marquee matchups talking about who's going to beat who. As you know, the Pac-12, they take the top 2 teams. They don't take the North and South anymore. They take the top 2 winning percentage teams this year. Okay, they still have divisions, which is weird. They should just get rid of those already. But they take the top 2 teams. So this game, it puts even more pressure on this UCLA Oregon game. As you know, when you got Utah, beating USC. Now each team, Utah and USC, have one loss in the conference at this point. Oregon and UCLA stand alone as undefeated conference opponents. And it's going to start taking shape here in the Pac-12 race. It's going to be huge. So went 2 for 2 on that prediction. Shout out the Doug Zone channel. UCLA beating Utah and then Utah beating USC. So man, great games there over the weekend. Also had Alabama going down to Tennessee in a top 10 matchup there. Tennessee, man, storms the field. Good for them, man. I've known that feeling in 2018. As you know, Oregon beat Washington and we stormed the field there. So great feeling, great games to watch over the weekend. Good to spend some time with the fam. But as you know, this weekend we got a huge matchup. Number 9 UCLA 6-0 coming in 3-0 in conference play at number 10 Oregon 5-1 on the season, 3-0 in conference play. Oregon's only losses to a top 3 Georgia team in Atlanta as well to add on to that. Didn't look very impressive, but ever since then, man, these Ducks have been on a roll, just absolutely dominating the competition in front of them. Games being played here in Autzen Stadium. Like I said, first top 10 matchup in Autzen Stadium since 2014. Okay, 12:30 kickoff time, primetime kickoff. Got all eyes on the West Coast. Oregon coming in as a 6-point favorite. ESPN gives Oregon a 71.4% chance to win this game, according to the ESPN game predictor there. ESPN game day, okay, will be there, okay, and this is always big time. I think this is the first game day at Oregon since 2018. So man, big time game. Josh Pate from the Late Kick podcast. If you don't watch that podcast, I really recommend you do. Really great podcast. Does national college football, covering all the teams. He does an every given Saturday tour. Okay, so he does a tour every given Saturday. He goes to the best marquee matchup of every weekend, right? So he'll be there. ESPN Game Day will be there. So, man, you know fans are going to pack the building. You know it's going to be a hard ticket to get, and this place is going to be rocking, which really favors the Ducks in this matchup. Okay, so UCLA last game, right? They went against Utah, got things done, won 42-32. A lot of people did not see this coming. Unless you watch this channel, of course, we've seen it coming, and that's exactly what happened. So congrats to UCLA there. I was always high on UCLA coming into the season when I did my early season predictions, just because of how easy their schedule was and the opponents they got at home. Now they're going to come to Oregon. That's their big test. If they win this game, they have everything in front of them. Okay, they still have to play USC as well, but they've gotten it done. Okay, their last 2 games, they've beaten ranked opponents in Washington and which has kind of gone downhill a little bit. That win doesn't look as impressive when they lost to Arizona State. And then they get it done against Utah, right? One of the favorites to win the conference almost. Oregon's last game, okay, we get it done against Arizona, the Wildcats. The Ducks win 49-22 in the desert, which is a big win, okay? I know you look at that and it's as Oregon as they should, right? But going into the desert, I don't think Oregon hasn't won there in over a decade. The last few matchups has not been well for Oregon. And it's good to see Dan Lanning get over that hurdle and win in the desert in year 1 of his campaign. All time in the series, UCLA versus Oregon. This is surprising, guys. UCLA actually leads the series 39-31, which certainly surprised me. I always think of UCLA. You definitely think of them as a basketball school, not so much of football. Well, they lead the series, guys. 8-game lead there for the Bruins. Since the turn of the century, though, since the year 2000, Oregon is 8-1 in Autzen Stadium versus UCLA. It's been really hard to come. Matter of fact, the Ducks have won 9 of the last 10 matchups against the Bruins. The last 3 matchups have been really interesting. 2018, the Ducks won 42-21. That was a down year for UCLA. 2020, okay, they come to Autzen Stadium, but it's important to note there was no fans. Of course, with the COVID year, no fans in the stadiums that year. And 38-35, narrow win for the Ducks. If it wasn't for a Jordan Happel interception at halftime, going into halftime, where it puts the Ducks up in that game, they're actually trailing. They go up at halftime. That it ends up a 3-point win. That play was very key, and a late turnover from UCLA there to put the Ducks in winning position at the end of the game. Same kind of story with 2021 here. Game day, ESPN Game Day was there last year at UCLA. The Ducks travel. A lot of people had UCLA winning that game. The Ducks get down early, right? 14-0, but they storm through. They make a comeback win, and they escape with a 34-31 win with a late game interception on the Bruins. So another late game turnover for the Bruins going in the Ducks' favor. This is shaping up to be another game that could end up like that. Whatever team has the ball last, whatever team gets that key turnover towards the end of the game, right, could have the edge here. This has the shaping of being a shootout game for sure. It's always been the last two matchups have been really, really close, going the Ducks' way. That can really motivate some things for these Bruin players, right? When you lose close like that, especially DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, as you know, one of the best quarterbacks in the conference, if not the best in some people's opinion. Just has lost to the Ducks over his 5 years being at UCLA. So this is going to be a big one for him. It's going to be a big one for Chip, whether he wants to publicly state it or not. I know he's feeling some type of way of wanting to beat Oregon. Okay, he left a legacy here. Probably he's Oregon's some of their best years while Chip has been around. Over the last decade. So he's definitely going to want this game. I know he's downplay it to the media, but man, I know in the inside he wants this one. DTR, his quarterback he's had over his whole time at UCLA, comes in as the number 2 quarterback in QBR in the Pac-12 at 88.4. Okay. That's just 1 percentage point lower than the number 1 spot, which Cam Rising holds, the Utah quarterback, at 89.4. For most of the year, that kind of surprised me because most of the year, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was actually the number 1 guy in QBR, a QBR rating in the Pac-12. So Cam Rising taking a slight lead there with a 1 point percentage. But man, as you can see, DTR, top 3, top 2, maybe the best quarterback in the Pac-12, right? Also important to note, where he's really been making strides is his completion percentage. Okay, over 70% completion rating at 74.8% completions. Man, that is insane. Okay, usually most good quarterbacks in the conference have around 60 to 65%. Okay, you got a guy completing 75% of his passes. Now, I don't know if you can sustain that a whole season. And I don't know if that's going to happen against a really good Ducks defense. I also think, playing against South Alabama and stuff like that kind of favors you there. But, you got not only him, but Bo Nix, okay, on our side, on the Ducks side. He's also throwing for over 70% of his passes right now. Both these quarterbacks have a great touchdown to interception ratio. This has the making of a great quarterback duel. And I'm really interested to see who's going to have the better game here. Man, it's going to be an amazing game. DTR is, he's got his team at 6-0, highest rated team in the conference. A lot of people might say Caleb Williams might be the best quarterback in the conference, but I'd like to argue that because DTR has less weapons and he's doing more with them. Okay, this UCLA Bruin offense ranks top 3 in almost every offensive statistical category. So man, it's been amazing, man. Veteran guy, experienced guy, real good quarterback in the Chip Kelly system, been there since 2018. So these guys have camaraderie and really know what they're doing here. And if you've been listening to the show, like I said, you might learn a thing or two. I told you guys UCLA would have this type of year. Okay, I told you guys UCLA would be undefeated coming in. And if you guys want to go back to the video for receipts, go ahead. It's the North and South predictions from me. But yeah, this is Chip Kelly's 5th year at UCLA. Okay. I know many wanted to give up on Chip. Not many were high on UCLA. 18-25 record in the first 4 years. Not impressive. Okay. Has every right to maybe be on the hot seat there in LA. But last year, okay, UCLA has their first winning season, right? Under Chip Kelly. Big win against LSU in the non-conference. And Chip Kelly gets another year, and now look what he's doing. He has his players in his system buying in. And Chip is a good coach, man. He's a guru. Okay. It might have been a slow start for him, but now he's getting it rolling. He has his guys. And you look at a guy like DTR, right? Really athletic guy, can use his feet, really zip passes into the pocket. It just reminds me of Darren Thomas, Masoli, quarterbacks like that played here at Oregon. Chip has his guy, and he's had him for the last few years. And this seems like maybe a Bruins moment brewing here for them to make a run for the Pac-12 championship. And I told you guys, I think I predicted Oregon and UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. Okay. I've been high on UCLA since the beginning, and they've been doing their thing. Okay, so let's preview the UCLA year this year. Talked about them a little bit, about last year, about their history a little bit, about the all-time matchup, stuff like that. Now let's officially get into previewing the team, right? Okay, so UCLA comes into as 6-0, okay, on the season, 3-0 in conference play. Their schedule has been cupcakey, so to speak. Let's just put it that way. Okay. They opened up with Bowling Green, won 45-17 there. Alabama State, the next game, 45-7 there, win. And then this is the questionable one that the Bruins had on their schedule. They played South Alabama at home and only won 32-31, 1 point win, which was real questionable. I had real questions for the Bruins up until that point. But ever since then, right, what do good teams do? If they have a blemish, they find what that is and they fix it. What do you see what that Oregon did in that Georgia week 1? They lost 49-3. And ever since then, they've been completely dominant, right? So what do good teams do? They fix it. They go to Colorado. They have Colorado, they go to Colorado on the road. Their only road game so far this year as well. They won 45-17. Now, Colorado's not a good team, not an absolutely horrific home atmosphere that Colorado has there, but they get the job done. That's what they're supposed to do. 45-17, great bounce back, blowout win for them. Then win 40-32. Okay, big win here. Number 15 Washington at home, top 15 matchup, right? They get the job done. Number 11 Utah comes into town. Okay, considered one of the conference favorites. Many have them picked as winning the conference. Won the conference last year, right? They win 42-32. Really just run over Utah's physical front. Didn't even look like Utah had a front that game. So, man, really impressive year so far from the Bruins on offense. They're led by quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Last year, threw for about 2,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. This year, he's on track to break those statistical ratings that he put up last year. At this point of the season, he has 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and throwing and completing 75% of his passes. So, man, completely dominant season for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. If he continues playing like he is, continues winning, I see a Heisman. Maybe he might be in New York, maybe getting some votes for Heisman. Offensively, UCLA really likes the balanced attack of run and pass. Okay, they have a lot of run pass options that they like to run for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's like the main engine, the main guy. He's the guy that tells the offense where the ball's going to go. Okay, it's his choice on whether they're going to pass it, run it, scramble. He has the keys to this offense. Okay, you might think of a chip offense and really think speed, get the ball out fast, spread. That UCLA offense is not so much of that. Okay, so there are still elements to that in this Chip Kelly offense, but it's more of a pro style now. They give DTR a lot of options within the offense. With the run pass option. When I feel like when Chip Kelly went to the NFL, he really picked up a lot of things with the run pass option, having a more balanced offense and how that can benefit a team. They also returned their elusive running back Zach Charbonnet. Man, one of the best running backs in the conference, if not the best. A lot of people say Zach Charbonnet is the best running back in the conference, hands down. I remember watching this guy against LSU last year and just how impressed I was. Transfer from Michigan, okay? He came in with the Bruins and put up 1,000 yards last year, averaging 5.6 yards per carry last year, and had 13 touchdowns to go along with that. So, man, really, really physical runner, really patient when the hole opens up. And, man, this guy is really, really good. Last game against Utah, okay? Utah really stuffs the run. Has the reputation for having a very physical defensive front, right? What does Zach Charbonnet do against him? 22 attempts, 198 yards, and a touchdown to go along with that. Every time he touched the ball, he ran for 9 yards. 9 yards per carry. Man, really, really, really good weapon for UCLA there that Oregon's going to have to key on. Okay. Can't stop talking about the UCLA offense without bringing up Jake Bobo, right? Their tight end, Jake Bobo, has hands down been the number one weapon for Dorian Thompson-Robinson this season. Jake Bobo has 24 catches for 385 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season. Out of those 5 touchdowns, 4 of them have been in the red zone. So huge, huge, huge red zone key for Dan Lanning and his defense there if the Bruins end up getting in the red zone. Against Washington, which was one of his most effective games, he had 6 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Did Bobo against the Huskies there. This is just another veteran guy in the Chip Kelly offense. Man, there's a lot of those guys, man, that have been on this Bruins team for a while. Let's just go ahead and list off some UCLA offensive statistics and where they rank in the FBS. So, excuse me, guys. UCLA averages 40.8 points per game, so just cusping 41 points per game. That's good for number 8 in college football. If you want to know where Oregon ranks With them compared to that, Oregon averages around 36.4 points per game. That's good for number 21 in college football. UCLA averages 509.8 yards per game. That's number 6 in all of college football. Compare that to Oregon's 494 yards per game. That's good for number 14 in college football. So we're talking top 15, top 20 offenses in all of college football going on the field this Saturday. That's why I'm saying this game has the real makings of a shootout. One of the most key stats that I've seen, okay, when I'm reviewing these UCLA stats, UCLA is one of the best teams in the nation of getting third down conversions. Okay, they convert third down 56% of the time. It's over half the time this season. That's good for number 4 in all of college football, while Oregon is number 127th in third down defense, allowing teams to convert 52% of the time against them, which is really not good. Last year, they were almost dead last in college football and getting teams off the field on third down. So really want to see improvement for the rest of the season here for the Ducks. Was really hoping that Dan Lanning and Tosh LaPointe, this defensive staff, would turn that stat around. It's been tough for the Ducks this year. It was tough for the Ducks last year. Hopefully this last end of the season, the Ducks can improve that, and they're going to need to improve it if they want to win this game. So the UCLA defense, they've been impressive and they're real solid. They got a nice speedy front. Okay, if you want to compare them to something that kind of like Washington State, but just bigger and stronger athletes, right? Okay. They're actually better than the Ducks at getting to the quarterback or rushing the quarterback. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and list a couple UCLA defensive rankings. This is Pac-12 rankings. Okay. I'm not using FBS rankings. The Bruins are number 3 in yards per game allowed. They only allow their opponents to have about 400 yards per game, while Oregon is number 5 in the conference, allowing their opponents to have about 421 yards per game. So not much of a difference there, not much of a drop off when it comes to yards per game. These defenses kind of mirror each other a little bit. Number 5, Bruins are in points per game allowed. The Bruins are allowing only 22.7 points per game. Oregon is number 8 in the conference at 28.8 points per game. If you were to remove that Georgia game, though, Oregon, that stat is a lot better. They're allowing only about 22 points per game is Oregon. So they'd be right there with the Bruins. So statistically, the Bruins and Oregon defense are pretty much similar. Really good up front. Questions in the secondary for both defenses, it seems like. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. This game has a real makings of a shootout for sure. And we'll get into my final score predictions here in a second. But before we do that, I always like to give my 3 keys to the game. Okay, this is my 3 keys to the game versus UCLA. Number 1, okay, get off the field on third down, right? I just spoke about this a few seconds ago, right? Oregon is almost dead last in all of college football, number 127th in getting teams off the field on third down. UCLA, offensively, one of the best teams at converting third down, right? Number 4 in all of college football. Okay, they get it. They convert 56% of the time, while the Ducks allow teams to convert 52% of the time. The Ducks are going to need to improve that now and for the rest of the season if they want to reach the goals they want to reach. Number 2, win the turnover battle. Okay, I know this is cliche for any big game, but man, especially for this big game like this, where you got a raucous, sold out crowd, turnovers are going to make that crowd electric and make momentum go your way big time. So winning the turnover battle is huge in this game, huge in every game, but you get it. Number 3, don't allow UCLA to rush over 200 yards. Okay, UCLA averages about 237 rushing yards a game. That's good for number 11 in the country, while Oregon, on the other hand, holds their opponents to about 97.6 rushing yards per game. That's good for number 9 in the country. Okay, this is going to be a run offense versus a run defense type of game. Heavyweight fight matchup to watch in this game. Going to be big. So get off the field on third down, win the turnover battle, and don't allow UCLA to rush over 200 yards. If Oregon can do all 3 of those, I think they win this game pretty comfortably, actually. All right. So what do I think is going to happen in this game? Let's get into the game prediction here. UCLA is undefeated with a veteran team of guys who have been there a while and have lost to the Ducks, okay? There's a lot to play for, okay? UCLA has gone through a lot of losing seasons, and now they're in the prime time shape for a college football playoff run, legitimately. And they have all eyes on them this weekend to really prove themselves if they're for real or not, okay? On the other hand, though, Oregon has been a real thorn in UCLA's side over the years, okay? Like I said, the Ducks have won 9 of the last 10 matchups. You know, 8-1 since 2000 at home, 2-0 when game day rolls around against UCLA. The Ducks are. So it's been a problem for UCLA to get over this Oregon hump, and they've came close, but the late turnovers of the last two matchups have went Oregon way and have gotten Oregon over the hump. The last two matchups been real close. UCLA has had a shot at beating the Ducks last 2 years. Don't forget that, Ducks. It's been close, okay? And the pain of losing like that can really motivate you if you're a UCLA player. It can really focus you for this matchup. And man, I don't care what the media says. Like I said, he can downplay it all he wants. I think Chip Kelly really, really, really wants this game. Okay, deep down, he has a legacy here. Okay, he wants to win. He hasn't beat the Ducks since being a coach at UCLA. This is going to be a good game for him, but not so fast, my friend. And I say it like Lee Corso because game day is going to be here. This is an Autzen Stadium that's going to have 55 to 60,000 people in every single seat. Standing room will be packed. This is a top 10 matchup since 2014. Okay, you got Josh Pate every given Saturday too. We're coming to town. People are going to be ramped up. This is going to be the game of the season at home for the Ducks, unless Utah. That's going to be another big one. But it's prime. This is prime time right here. Okay, Oregon has won 22 straight home games. Okay, add that on for the Ducks, and I just think with the type of environment you're bringing in, and the history of this matchup just goes the Ducks' way statistically. I think it's going to be close for 3/4. I think it's going to be back and forth offensive game for sure. I'd bet the over on points if I were you guys. This ain't betting advice, by the way. Do your own thing, but I think it's going to be close to 3/4. Shout's going to come on before the fourth. All the 60,000 fans are going to have shout, energize that team, and we're going to dominate the fourth quarter for a 45-32 victory for the Ducks. I got Oregon 45-32 win over the Bruins. That's my final score prediction for this game, okay? College game day being in town with that crowd rocking, first top 10 matchup in Autzen since 2014. Okay, and I get it. UCLA is undefeated. They have some big wins, but they have not played anybody that close to Oregon's talent away from home yet. Okay, and when the last time they were here at Autzen, there was no fans. Okay, this is going to be electric. One of the best atmospheres we've seen at Autzen in a few years. I just don't think UCLA has enough to handle that. Okay, and I think Oregon matches up really well against UCLA's defense. Oregon's offense has been really moving the ball well, and I think Oregon being at home gets them the momentum for a few key turnovers at the end of the game, which has been the story of the game the last two matchups. And I just think Oregon, it will be a close game throughout 3/4. I think it'll be a good game. But I think in that fourth quarter, I think Oregon pulls away with that great offensive line as well. Okay, so that's my prediction for the game, my preview for the game. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Before we go, got to give you guys the recruiting visitors this weekend, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and run through it real quick. Going to start with the class of 2023 visiting for the Oregon-UCLA game. We got running back Jaden Lamar, who's committed to Notre Dame. We got wide receiver, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, buddy, Trech Kukahana, okay? Trech Kukahana is committed to Wisconsin, okay? Oregon's kind of on him late. That's something to watch there. Jaden Lamar, Oregon was in his commitment late before committing to Notre Dame, so maybe flip seasons coming there for Oregon possible to watch. It's going to be a great game. D lineman Vita Paleme, Oregon commit, continue on with the 2023 class. Outside linebacker Tatum Toyota, who's also the coach of son of Tony Toyota, defensive line coach here at Oregon. He's an Oregon commit. And then safety Cody DeCambra, another Oregon commit here. That's the class of 2023 visitors. Let's move on to class of 2024 visitors. We got quarterback Miles Jackson, running back Nathaniel Frazier, tight end Ian Flint, offensive lineman Brandon Baker, offensive lineman Devin Brooks, defensive back Nico Clem, defensive back Eli Bowen, offensive lineman DeAndre Carter, linebacker Tanner Williams. That wraps up the 2024 visitor list right there. Class of 2025, we got athlete LaMason Waller, who notably just decommitted from Washington. Okay, so it's always good to see the Huskies lose a commit and then have them come travel to Oregon. Then we got linebacker Mana Toyota, running back Jordan Davison. Okay, this guy's a real good running back out of Mater Dei. Wide receiver Marcus Harris, then we got one guy that wraps up 2025 class. We got one guy out of the class of 2026, quarterback Jackson Presley. Okay, so that's the whole visitor list right there. We might have a few more guys that I did not say come on after this is recorded. But yeah, as so far this moment of the recording, those are all the guys, all the recruits visiting for this game. So nice list there. And no, it is not a modern day field trip. It is actually unofficial visits for all recruits. Okay, I know there's a lot of modern day prospects in there. So big game this weekend, top 10 matchup. I got my Ducks winning this one 45-32 over UCLA. I'll be at the game, man. As you know, I do the vlogs, so I'll definitely be vlogging for you guys. Get the vlogs up. If you guys haven't checked out the vlogs already, man, go check those out. It's great vlogging. I always like to, show people who can't make it to the games how a game day experience is, man, how to do it for sure. So if you guys like content like this, I really appreciate you guys if you can like and subscribe on the video, share the video as well to all your friends and family to get a real good preview on this game, real good hand on this game. Don't look like a casual, right? You got to know what you're talking about when you're talking about these games. Also, Duck Zone 503 at Duck Zone 503, Instagram and Twitter. Go follow the socials. We're growing like crazy, over 1,200 followers on Instagram and Twitter on each platform. And then last but not least, shout out scoopduck.com. As you guys know, I host recruit interviews. Any prospect that Oregon's really looking at and starting to recruit, I'll try to get them on the channel for you guys to get introduced to them, right? And get to know them and know what connections they have to Oregon. So really appreciate you guys. I'll be at the game. Shout out you guys. Really appreciate you. And as always, go Ducks. And yeah, man, really appreciate you guys. Go Ducks.